Hello, YouTube. I'm Randy Snow from the World of Football, and today we're going to be talking arena football. We were so excited to hear the news that the Arena Football League was coming back a few weeks ago, and we have some suggestions on how they could make the league even better. And as usual, across the table from me is my son Adam.
Yep, I am here, excited to talk about arena football, which is one of my favorite things to talk about. And now that the league is coming back, we actually have tangible things to bring to the table and help, this league become better going in the future because also, there was a great interview done with the new commissioner, Lee Hutton, over on arenafan.com, the podcast AFL Rewind, hosted by Tim Capper and John Stark. It's a great interview. If you guys haven't listened to this interview, we're going to put a link to their YouTube down in the comments below. You guys should go check them out for great arena football stuff. And arenafan.com is, without a doubt, the best site for arena football resources, past and present, and now going
Into
to the future. So
Yeah.
very excited. And, Tim, we know Tim. Tim does great stuff over there, and he's a big champion for the Arena Football League. So go check them out because I thought it was a great conversation. The commissioner brought some stuff up that we are going to kind of talk about, and hopefully the commissioner can hear some of our suggestions when starting the league back up. So why don't you start us off with number one?
All right. Number one, have a great app. You can't scratch your butt these days without having an app. I own a Chrysler, I own a GMC, I have apps for both of those. I recently bought a new bed and there's no remote control anymore to put the head up and down. It's all done on your phone. You got to have the bed app for that. So everything needs an app, and the Arena Football League is no different. Every other league has a pretty good app. The XFL has come along with their app. Who else? The AAF had an app a few years ago when they were around. So, NFL's got it. Every good football league has an app. And so the Arena Football League is no different.
Yep, I think it would go a long way in just helping fans interact and stay up to date with this league coming back. I think that you want that engagement, and an app would help that out. All right, and then at number 2 we have find the right broadcast/streaming partner. Now, there's little leagues out there like you might have heard of the Indoor Football League. Not so little. They're kind of the king when it comes to indoor football at the current moment, but they have done a lot of good stuff with putting all their games on YouTube. You can find every single game practically weekly when their season is out. And I think the presentation, it varies from team to team and whoever's putting those broadcasts together. But the point is, they put it out there for people to find. And with the Arena Football League, find a national broadcast team or some sort of streaming partner to get every single game out there. Maybe have a weekly game on a big network like ESPN, like they used to do. But they need to find a reliable network that doesn't just use them as content filler, but that respects them and displays the Arena Football League in all the glory that we know that it should be displayed as. Just like back when TNN used to have it back in the early 2000s. I thought that is probably the gold standard in terms of showcasing the Arena Football League and how get that out there to fans.
And maybe a weekly show also for highlights, scores, interviews with players and coaches, previewing the upcoming games, that sort of thing. That would all be included in their broadcast partner. Number 3 on our list, find a voice for the league. Oh, by that, I mean, when you think of college football, you think of Keith Jackson. When you think of Monday Night Football, you think Pat Summerall and John Madden. So everybody has a voice. The Arena Football League used to have Eli Gold as their voice many years ago. I remember him doing in 2000 doing
the greatest
He was
voice you could
awesome.
hear for Arena Football.
To me, he was Arena Football. I don't think we can get him anymore. I think he's pretty close to retirement. So we need to find a new voice for the league. And a couple of guys by the name of Ari Wolf and Cedric Bonner used to be great when they broadcast games on TV. Get those guys back. Bring in some more people who know the league, respect the league's history. Guys who've been around the league and understand what arena football is all about. Not just because they're the hot young broadcaster coming up from some network, but get somebody that really knows arena football. That is really important too, I think.
Yeah, I think understanding the nuts and bolts, having maybe even some experience with the Arena Football League, like Cedric Bonner did, will benefit their broadcast, them explaining the game to people for, painting this picture of the game to new fans out there who are watching the game, who might even be a little confused watching the game, and having that easy voice to just kind of ease you into this game and bring in new fans and, keep old fans coming back, I think is something the league needs to really focus on.
Yeah, see if Kurt Warner's available.
He might be. I mean, you never know. All right. And number 4, speaking of, some of the history of the game, our number 4 is respect the game and its history. Now, the Arena Football League was around for many, many years, 3 decades pretty much. And in that time, it outlasted other leagues that everybody talks about, like the USFL, outlasted that. It outlasted 2 incarnations of the XFL. It outlasted the AAF. It's outlasted the World League of American Football and NFL Europe. Arena football has been a staple in American sports for 30 years. It's taken a few years off. That's why, they've been, kind of dormant and now they're coming back. But what made the league so great is that history it has. I think there's so much to be mined there. The story of Kurt Warner, that'll always be something that'll keep coming back to the forefront. It's probably the greatest arena football story there is. But those of us who know the game know there's so much to this game and why it's so special. And that's something that the people who are now entrusting and caring for this league need to keep in mind going forward, because there's great stuff that they've even talked about bringing back, like the Iron Man element of the Arena Football League, which made it so great. The two-way players, bringing back hopefully some rivalries and fan bases that mean a lot to this league, which is a community in and of itself, which is still out there, just waiting for the league to come back.
When you talk about longevity in football, you have the NFL, you have the CFL, and in third place, you have the Arena Football League for the leagues that have been around the longest. And fans love it. So we're really excited to think of them coming back in a year or so. And finally, the last of our 5 points today, no neutral site arena bowls, at least for now. We've had a neutral site arena bowls before, to varying degrees of success. I was kind of against them when they first started it. I always felt like you're taking a game and you're putting it in a neutral site where the fans of both teams have to travel there. Well, if you hold the Arena Bowl at the site of the team with the best record, that game is going to sell out, because those home fans, if there's any tickets left over between the two teams or whatever, they're going to get snapped up in no time. I've never seen a game that wasn't a sellout when it was at somebody's home stadium that was playing in the game. So the neutral site game might be something to think about in the future, but not in the first year coming back, I don't think.
Yeah, it's something that was brought up on that podcast we mentioned earlier on the AFL Rewind. Commissioner Lee Hutton III himself did say, and here's a quote from that. He said, "The Arena Bowl, it hasn't been established, but we're thinking about having that in a central location every year. That's not written in stone, but having it in a central location we can give to a stadium that would provide a good experience over and over and over a year and become a kind of stable destination for the fans to go to." Now, I think that's fine rationale when building out the league, and saying, hey, let's find a central location, probably like a Las Vegas or something. So the fans from all across the country, there's planes every day from all over the country going to Las Vegas. It'll be easy for them to travel. I get that. I think on paper, makes sense. But hear me out here, Commissioner. Back in 2001, the Grand Rapids Rampage, the smallest market in the Arena Football League, hosted the Arena Bowl. Sold that thing out. Sure, was it only 11,000 fans? Yeah, number-wise, yeah, a small amount compared to maybe like an arena that would probably get 20,000. But hear me out. The optics. The optics were that place was sold out. It was rowdy. Being there, firsthand, we could tell you, great atmosphere. Then, a few years later, they went to the neutral site Arena Bowls. You go to Arena Bowl 19, which I believe was between the Crush and the Georgia Force. That game was held in Las Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. And that game drew less fans than the Grand Rapids Arena Bowl. And I know that because it was the first neutral site Arena Bowl in arena football history. 1,000 less fans. I think, at least starting out, you want to build up to that game. Maybe once the fan bases are established, maybe once the league has got its sheer footing again, then you could probably say, all right, guys, look, the neutral sites got to come back, maybe for financial reasons, which would make sense. Putting it in a Las Vegas would be a great showcase for the league. But I think also when you're starting back out and you got all these teams, why would you put a game in a city, like say you have a Las Vegas team, and that's where the Arena Bowl is going to be. That Las Vegas team doesn't play there. Why would those home fans buy up tickets to go to a game that's between Salt Lake City and Charlotte, North Carolina, or something like that? Why would they want to invest in that game? I don't see them doing that. It's not like it's the Super Bowl.
Right.
It'd be the league Super Bowl, but I just don't see that for the Arena Football League helping out. It clearly didn't help the first time they tried it, but I think you got to ease back into it. Instead, if say like a Salt Lake City or a San Jose or an Indianapolis or wherever you put these teams, say they get to host the championship game, that home crowd, you telling me that they had great attendance all year, they wouldn't flood that place?
Oh, yeah.
Or if the other team, maybe they would flood that arena because they're like, oh, it's, you could probably, I think the optics would be a little better to have a team that's already supported their team all year go to the championship game, as opposed to asking them to travel further, to go across the country and spend more money that way. I think it's a little bit harder of a sell. I see where they're going for, and I just think you got to hold off for a couple of years, at least not the first year you're coming back. I think you got to get things reestablished.
Yeah, you really need to show the fans that you're back to stay and that you're not just a one-season wonder, that you're back to stay, and then in a few years, yeah, maybe a neutral site arena bowl will work at that time. But right now, we say no.
It could work. I'm saying, I mean, they got smart business people, hopefully putting all this together. They're going far enough to add 16 teams right off the bat.
Yeah.
That's what also makes me nervous is you're going to add 16 teams, then you're going to have a neutral site. Some of these outdoor leagues, I think a neutral site is different because it's, like they announced San Antonio would be the championship site for the XFL.
Yep.
Who knows if San Antonio is even going to make it to the championship game or not. But I think those fans were thirsty enough for football that they will probably sell that thing out, if not get close. But that's the outdoor game. The indoor game, I think it's going to be a harder sell. I think it's a harder sell for people, especially for a league that's been dormant for a few years. I just think it's a better bet, and I'm no business person or strategist. I am just an arena football fan. I just don't think it would work right off the bat. But because I think rewarding your fans first by putting it in whatever that fan base is, that their team with the best remaining seed, or rewarding the team with the best attendance left, give it to them instead.
Right.
I could see that working better than having a neutral site. And time will tell if we're right or not.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our 5 points for this week. To recap, for the AFL, it's have a great app, find the right broadcast/streaming partner, find a voice for the league, respect the game and its history, and no neutral site arena bowls for now. That's our 5 points we wanted to make.
That's our 5 points. We thank you guys so much for watching us. Please hit that like button, subscribe button, bell notification. Be notified whenever we drop new videos. We're always trying to do different videos for different leagues, and you guys seem to be responding to that. We also have a weekly podcast, This Week in the World of Football, where we talk about, football. All the stuff there, including, we got XFL Week 2 this week. Last week's show, we talked about the first week of the XFL, went into a little bit of in-depth there. We talked about maybe even from that interview we mentioned earlier, maybe the New Orleans Voodoo coming back to the Arena Football League. Are they the first domino to fall in terms of what teams we could see? Check out that podcast every Tuesday, available wherever podcasts can be found.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.